Peace, guys. How's it going? Patrick, Conservative Rap. And in this video, I'd like to talk about the financial blame game going on to blame Trump. Very sort of, I call it exciting times, not just politically, but also financially, macroeconomically, which is, I think, not the general opinion. And I wanted to talk about specifically why I see that to be so. First, let's start with a quote. It's by F. Scott Fitzgerald. First, you take a drink. Then the drink takes a drink. And then lastly, the drink takes you. So again, there's a blame game going on to position Trump as the cause of the volatility in the markets and the current quasi-recession that we're in. Even though in the reality, a lot of the policies that Biden said are, being that we're that proximus to his administration behind a lot of what we're seeing. There's a little more, a bit of, I think, like a cryptic sort of fake news when it comes to financial and macroeconomic tactics. And as we all know, the Federal Reserve is itself part of the deep state. So we're already in a recession, in my opinion. When Biden's in office, they manipulate labor statistics to hide that fact. When Trump is in office, they remove that cloak, etc. So again, a bit of a bumpy road for those of us paying attention to the markets. But as Karoline Leavitt once said, we're in a transition recently. In my mind, what we're at is the tip of the iceberg in terms of the transition into a parallel economy. We have drill baby drill, right? Some of the energy policies that Trump is going to be in a position to initially set up and structure. Tariffs, drawing revenue in the external revenue service. The tariffs then causing companies to relocate, come back to America, creating jobs. A reduction in the size of government with the sort of Doge philosophy mandating and creating some of the changes that we see. Once you have a government that's self-sufficient and self-stabilizing, we can then start addressing taxes, right? And Trump has already set the stage with some of his phraseology. No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. In my opinion, that'll potentially, after we audit Fort Knox, then audit the Federal Reserve, lead us to a position where we can start talking about no taxes, period. Because the cost of government has, similar to the Andrew Jacksonian sort of period, reduced so much. So again, like, think about someone going through a withdrawal, right? An actual addict. When they're going through those first symptoms of withdrawal, there's a lot of volatility in that person. They're not really the same person, and it's not necessarily a pretty sight to see, but that's part of what getting us out of this fictional fiat currency system requires. The news can't stop it. The fake news can't stop it. Jamie Dimon, Buffett can't stop it, no matter what they sell off. And I wanted to get into some specific articles to talk about this. Here from the Australian Financial Review, why Trump's economic gamble will force the Fed's hand. All right, and the president's strategy, so I'm going to just quote it. The president's strategy to crush demand whilst giving U.S. companies a boost is driving the world's largest economy towards the edge, but it could all be part of the plan. And this goes in, it's not exactly the kind of take that I would have, but I think what they're drawing at is fundamentally the same point. Donald Trump has always been a showman, a master manipulator of the narrative, and a self-styled deal maker. But his administration's latest policy, tightening fiscal policy while handing U.S. companies a windfall, raises a more unsettling question. Do they believe it won't trigger a recession, or are they banking on it? I would argue, again, do they think it will trigger eventually, 6 to 12 months from now, a new parallel economy? All right, this from The Mirror out of the UK. Federal Reserve Chairman issues a devastating 8-word warning to Donald Trump. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, appointed by Trump, warned that tariffs imposed on Canada, China, and Mexico will likely lead to inflation. Speaking at an economic forum, Powell stated everybody's forecasting some inflation effect from tariffs. Economists predict these tariffs will raise costs for businesses and consumers, while retail giants warn of higher prices for everyday goods. Powell emphasized that while the U.S. economy remains strong, the Federal Reserve will monitor the long-term effects of these tariffs before taking any corrective action. Meanwhile, Trump defended his stance, particularly against particularly against Canada and China too, honestly, citing unfair trade practices. This whole system of America footing the bill for other countries and being taken advantage of, it's coming to a screeching halt. All right, and then lastly, Trump signs executive order placing stricter limits on Biden's student loan forgiveness program. So during Joe Biden's presidency, a program was introduced allowing individuals to have their student loans forgiven by working in public service roles, including nonprofits. Critics argue that the program was exploited, with some nonprofits being classified as public service organizations without proper oversight. Recently, Donald Trump signed an executive order restricting eligibility for the PSLF, the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. The order excludes employees of nonprofits engaged in activities deemed illegal or harmful to national security, such as build the wall, people being here illegally that should not be. PSLF originally aimed to forgive loans for those in government or nonprofit roles after 10 years of payments, but the new restrictions aim to prevent misuse of the program. So, I mean, just hypothetical question. What if, I get less DEI than you, right? What if I'm black, but you're a black woman, so you get a government or nonprofit job over me? Why would that qualify you to be forgiven student loan debt? It's ridiculous, right? What about people who simply have different interests, right? Not everybody is drawn to nonprofit sector work or government work. Why do we have lawyers working for some of these nonprofits paying off their student loans versus people in other professions? It's ridiculous. So again, reducing the cost of government, that's what, in my mind, this is ultimately driving at. Individuals need to practice their own fiscal responsibility. Remember, guys, if you take a drink, then the drink takes a drink, and then the drink takes you. Similar to a raging alcoholic and withdrawal symptoms, what we're seeing in the markets now reflects us transitioning into a new world where we won't be at the behest of these unelected, fictitious Federal Reserve policies, and one where we'll actually be able to retain. You're going to have potentially both Bitcoin and gold as hedge against inflation and as a forestalling sort of economic structure for us here in the States. So I'm looking forward to it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment below. Feel free to like, share, tweet, subscribe. I'm also going to be publishing an album soon, so look forward to that. And take care. Thanks, and look forward to hearing more soon.